Hi. Here's hoping that your day was totally free from conflict, that you didn't have to engage in any difficult conversations. If you had to, well, put it aside as we engage in a discourse related to navigating difficult conversations with finesse. Maybe if you did have one, you could actually reflect on how you managed it as against some of the thoughts that we want to share here with you. So, I am Trevor E.S. Smith. I'm with the Success with People Academy, and I will be your guide in this Success with People livecast as we deal with this issue, difficult conversations with different styles and with tips that will guide you through the process. What is the context? In our Success with People livecast series, we seek to look at issues that are either not addressed sufficiently, or we see that we can add insights that are unique. And so we hope that as you go through, you're not saying, okay, Trevor, so what's new? Uh, Hopefully, we're adding value. But what's the context? Why, though? Why are we seeking to speak about this matter? Well, whether it is at work, at home, at play, whatever the scenario, maybe you're just in the bank or in the supermarket, you might end up having to have a difficult conversation. They seem to be inevitable. So that's the context. That's why we're dealing with it. It just seems as if there's going to be a time when, whether we invited it or not, we find ourselves in the midst of one of these conversations. And our task today is to look at how do we navigate those conversations more effectively so that we can actually escape in a harmonious way, and that respect is still in place, but also that the desired objectives are met. Not that we just stay away and avoid them, or that we just go through with sort of palliative discourse and the issue is still outstanding. Our objective is to get to the place where the issues are resolved, but in a harmonious way. So we're going to look at some strategies, and then, as is our wont, we want to look at some practical applications of the concepts that we're sharing. All right. So the first strategy would be key would be to be ready emotionally. You know, it says here, nourish yourself. Be in a position where you are sound emotionally. You're in a good place emotionally before you start, trying to sort out somebody else. Yeah. So we like to speak in front terms in these live casts. So I'm just saying, fix yourself first. Make sure you fix yourself before you seek to um, address issues with others. So yeah, seriously, just look at it. I'm in a good place. Are you still concerned about something? Is there, are you upset? Are you mad? Are you tired? Just get yourself in a right place before you start to share. And that also is aligned with being grounded, be clear, be in a good position before, during, and after the conversation, right? And also bear in mind what kinds of responses you might get. You don't know how it will land. So be careful that you are ready to accept any possibility. And of course, timing. Timing is so important. People talk about a teaching moment. That's when you need to have these discourses. You don't want to have the discourse when it is not right, where the person is definitely not in a position to speak with you in any kind of way that would lead to understanding or alignment. All right. Consider the stakes. What's at stake? What is it that you really want? Why are you having this conversation? Is it to resolve an issue? Is it that you want some feedback? You want some alignment with the person? What's it? And try to be as clear as possible, So look at, as we prepare to go into the conversation, what are some ideas as to how we could arrive at win-win? That's the kind of thinking, kind of mindset that we should have as we are about to enter into a difficult conversation. And consider the impact, consider the potential impact. Could it ruin the relationship? Could that have financial implications? So we actually gave our potential client this feedback. It didn't land well and they have canceled the order. Okay, what are the implications logistically? So the feedback that we have given to our supplier has caused major disruption in the supply chain. And so we have this problem. What about our reputation? So these are some of the things I want to just think about, not to cause us to say, something, I better leave this alone, but at least for us to be aware of the potential impact. Yeah. But we should also look at the potential impact as well. We have now had this behavioral chain. This supplier is now aligned with our quality values. Those are positives as well. So think about both sides, not just the downside. Then set the tone. So you enter in the conversation about mindset, and you want to set the tone. You want to say, listen, I wanted to share this information with you. I wanted to have this discourse. I'm concerned about issues, and that's why I really want to have this. I'm here. This is a conversation, so I'm here to listen and to seek to understand. That's why we're having this discourse. And then, of course, in the discourse, I want us to get away from, I don't want this and I don't want that. Right? A quick thing, we're trying to be out here in 30, 35 minutes, so I can't stick in too many of the anecdotes. But one of the things that we do when we're working with workshops and, with building teams and helping leaders is the idea of someone coming to provide you with services. Yes. And, you're interviewing the candidates and, this person is coming and says, I don't like this and I don't like that. And it gives you a long string of what you doesn't want, So this is somebody that's providing needs services, for example. And the general opinion of participants in the workshop is that, no, I don't want to have that person. I would never employ that person because at the end of the day, that person is going to want to take over. And then the point I usually make is that at least, if you buy an iron, to press your clothes, you would like to get instruction to say, do not immerse in acid or do not do this. So you know what not to do in order to get best results from the appliance. And it's the same thing I'm saying, but I would suggest, having said that, let's go into this conversation with a different mindset. Let's talk about what it is that you would like to have done as against what it is that you don't want. Yeah. And of course, avoid assumptions. Get the facts. Don't try to impute motives or wrong intentions. Get the facts. Number 4, as we move along, listen. Listen. It's a different kind. I keep saying this, that we should have a PhD in listening, because listening is such a difficult, but so critically important. So we want to listen attentively, and we also want to listen with empathy. Be fully present, right? Don't be distracted. Put all of that aside, and all of the challenges that you had before coming into a conversation, leave that out and just have an open book, an open mind. Also, understand that we're dealing with a human, same frailties that you have, that individual might have. So put aside your story. Oh, that person, I know that person doesn't like me, and that person has it in for me. Yeah, I know that they mean me no good. No, leave your story. That is your story. Leave that story out and try to be humble and empathetic. Yeah, try to put yourself in their shoe. What is it that they are thinking and want from the conversation? Yeah, so that should then open the door for you to listen from an understanding perspective. Focus on the words, the tone. They're sending you a signal, and you should pick up those signals. Yeah, not just the words. Remember, the body language is important. And remember, while we are looking at their body language, make sure that we are sending the right signals, that our body language is aligned with our words. Yeah. And yeah, um, we're talking about preparation. Be ready for any emotion that you might show without judging it. Yeah. So if they're angry, understand maybe where they're coming from. If they're sad, you know, I'm not fond of tears, but if that is there, be ready to um, accept it without judgment. Number five, man, we see in the political realm, people are talking about teleprompters and who stays on the prompter and who doesn't. But I don't want to go there. All I'm just saying to you is avoid grandstanding. Stay clear of, you know, pushing fire, on the situation. My suggestion, frankly, is that you should rehearse the script. Okay, does that sound fake? Maybe, but what I'm saying is if it's an important, just like you're going to make a major presentation, you go through and you run your deck over and over. Yeah, if this is an important conversation, then I suggest that you have a script. You don't have to necessarily write it out, but at least be clear in your mind as to what it is that you are to say, what is it that you ought not to say, and how you are going to say it. So that's a suggestion. All right. And then, of course, we're saying accentuate the positive. Yeah. Yeah, you're wrong. It's your fault. You messed it up. Yeah. So let's look at this is where we are. Let us see how we can get to a place with which we are both comfortable. That's the kind of idea. And we know, I still have to put it here though, that but negates all that has happened before, Yeah. I like what it is that you're doing, but okay, about what I said before. So seek to connect by using the and. And be open. Expect that the individual might have ideas about you that are not pleasing to them, that they would want you to adjust. So be open, and when it arises, have an open mind. And if it is in the context of the discourse, then of course you can actually even discuss it. So collaborate. That's a key for me, would be to have the discourse in a manner that we're looking for an answer. We're not here to pontificate. We're not here to say you must this or you must that. This is a situation that we want to resolve. We want to have alignment around. So let us discuss it openly. I will share, you will share, and we consider each other's position with an open mind. That's where I want to go. And we might come to the table with ideas as to what it is that we want, and those ideas might not be workable. And so let us see how we can brainstorm solutions that make sense for both sides. Yeah. And in doing that, we need to keep painting the picture as to the possibilities that are open as we look at our objectives. If we are on the same platform, if we have the same basic goals, ultimately, then we should be able to fashion solutions that work for both of us. Yeah. So that's the idea. But here is a thought. Sometimes we do the conversation well, we are proud of ourselves that yes, we managed that conversation well. But guess what? Sometimes we leave a loophole, we leave something that we didn't quite tie down. The whole thing unravels. So do not assume that the gift of gab, that you brought to the process landed wonderfully well and that everything is all right. No. Confirm agreements and follow up, go back into the process now to see this is what we agreed on. Is that taking place? Yeah. So I'm just suggesting that do not leave the thing half-baked. Be sure to follow in meaningful ways. All right, so those are the tips. Let me just run through very quickly again before we look at practical examples. I like to deal with application of the concepts. So the first thing is to be ready emotionally. Fix yourself before you seek to fix others. Yeah? I'm not saying the conversation is about fixing anybody, but what I'm just saying, put yourself in a good place emotionally. Make sure that you're not angry, upset, frustrated, all of those things. So be grounded before, during, and after the conversation. And be mindful of the range of responses that you might get. And of course, we need to make sure that we are speaking in a teachable moment. Make sure that the timing is right. So that's number one. Number two is consider the stakes. Yeah. What is it that you want? What is it that the person could want? And if it blows up, what could be the implications for the relationship, financial, logistical, reputational? And what if it's, is highly successful? What are those implications? So that's the other thing that you want to have in your mind as you go forward. Set the tone. Come to the table with a mindset to have this work well. Yeah. So it's an issue. It's a concern that I have, and that's why we are engaging in this dialogue. This is why we want to discuss this. I'm here to listen and to seek to understand better. Yeah. And then as we go through, it's not a don't, I don't want that, I don't want this. It is, here are some desired outcomes. I like this question. I like to say to the individual, what would constitute resolution for you in this matter? What would constitute resolution for you in this matter? Let them share then, this is the win for me. Yeah. And then of course you can speak to yours. Make sure that you do not make assumptions about anybody's motives or their intention or facts. Information that I wouldn't call it facts, because if it's facts, they are facts. But information that you have verified that it is in fact so. And then be listening. Listen. These are humans. Be present. Try to look at the body language and incorporate all of those things that we know about active listening in the process. And validate their feelings. The other one would be stop the grandstanding. Prepare, rehearse, make sure that you follow some clear guidelines as to what to say, how to say it, what not to say. And remember, the but negates anything that went before it. Have a thick skin so that at least, that doesn't derail the whole conversation when somebody might raise a criticism. And remember, the whole goal is to collaborate. This is a conversation, actually. So it should be, coming from both sides, in which case you really want to actively and empathetically hear what the other side has to offer. All right. Follow up. Don't leave anything without tying it up clearly, and follow up to make sure that any agreements that you have come to are in fact followed through. So we have our discerning model of communication and leadership. And I'm just suggesting to you that this, of all the tips that we're talking about, are all the things that we can apply. If you use these concepts that are embraced under the discerning model of communication, it's going to make a difference to your conversations. It's going to help you to speak and to converse and to have these discussions in a completely different way. And so understanding yourself, your preferred behavioral style, and understanding how to identify the behavioral style of those that with which you're having the conversation makes a huge difference. Here's a little graphic that I just want to share with you quickly, that if you are having a conversation with someone who has a preference for the D style, that's dominance. And this framework is based on the Jungian theory. Jung said years ago that if we look at how people navigate through life, or how people approach life, or mindsets, we can classify their approaches into 4 groups. I like to say that there are 4 bags of tools, many bags, many tools in the bags, but we have 4 massive bags of tools, of behaviors to navigate through life. That's basically what it is. And sometimes the DISC framework is misunderstood, that people are saying you're a this or you're a that. My understanding is that we have these 4 bags of behaviors that we use to navigate through life. And one set of behaviors is probably most appropriate in a given situation. And so we need to look at how it is that we use these tools. And so the first approach then is to look at individuals who have a preference for dominance, the D style. And they're driven, direct, decisive, want to be in control. So having conversations with someone who has a preference for the D style might involve getting some pushback, because they're not going to just listen to you. They might think they have a different perspective, and they're going to say, yes, Trevor, but, and state their things. So expect some pushback, right? And please, I hear all of the niceties about the sandwich and so on. They really want to get to the bottom line. So get to the point fairly quickly. And one suggestion, and I say this in my coaching, you have to show determination. You can't go in weak, because you're going to be run over. So you need to demonstrate some level of assertiveness, and I'm speaking to my S-style individuals especially, when you want to have a serious conversation with a D-style that's going to change their behavior. You have to let them know that you're serious about it. Yeah? So that's the first one. All right. The I-style, pleasant, warm, welcoming, but it could be that because they are, have a wide range of views about life and so on, you could get distracted. So the key now is to bear in mind what it is that this conversation is about, and do not get distracted about what's happening in social media or happening wherever else. Focus, and stay on message. And of course, nail down the agreement, because generally, individuals who have a preference for the I style are not going to push back too heavily. They want to be comfortable. They want to have good, healthy relationship with you. So they might more readily say, yeah, okay, fine, Trevor. I hear you. I accept that, and I, expect this from me. But that might not always be the case. Okay? You have to go deeper to make sure that that does in fact follow. So whereas the D style might have a pushback, the I style would tend to be more understanding, more receptive of your ideas. And yeah, you might walk away from the discussion thinking all is well when it is not so. Right? The S style requires patience. because the S style might be a little bit more sensitive. And I don't mean this in any bad way. They just understand that there are, emotions. There are, sometimes people say things and it lands maybe not in the best way. And so they're mindful of that. So your words matter and your body language matters. So be careful as to what it is that you say, because they are going to ponder on it a lot more than, for example, your D style or your I style. They're going to internalize, that's the word I should be using, internalize your comments in a much deeper way than the other styles might. So you might need to explain, why is it that you are raising this issue? Why is it that you need to have this conversation? And even and after that, you might still need to unruffle the feathers. You might still need to leave the conversation, making sure that there's not a misunderstanding. Yeah. And then the C style, very task oriented. And please, believe me, be factual. Make sure that the conversation that you're raising, that you're dealing with evidence, dealing with facts, that you are not just, rambling at the mouth. And expect to go through, I'm putting it here as lawyering, expect to go through like evidence in court, be tested, answer tough questions. And of course, at the end, you're going to document the agreement so that there's no misunderstanding afterwards. So, given that, let us race through 4 scenarios that might reinforce what we just discussed. So, imagine you're a project manager and this team member comes to the meetings late all the time. So you say, "Hi, Dick, I've noticed that you have been late to our team meetings consistently, but punctuality is important for the project to succeed. So talk to me, Dick, what's going on here?" So Dick said this to me, "Meetings are a waste. We spend so much time in the meeting. I have work to do, So when I'm late, it's because I'm busy, I'm working. That I'm not an idler." Yeah. So you have to push back again and say to me, hey, come on now, Dick. So I appreciate your dedication to your task, but listen to me, man. The team, we need, as a team, so we need to collaborate. So let's find a way that we can sort this out where you can get your work done, but we also need your participation in the meetings. So that's the kind of approach to your C style. Your D style. The I style, this is a scenario now where you are the sales manager and we're not meeting our targets, and there's a problem here. So there is a, highly enthusiastic member of your team, but they're not really delivering. So you come on and say, "Hey, Ingrid, what's up? Listen to me. Our numbers, we're not meeting our targets, and I want to find out how we can improve." So Ingrid said, "Hey, don't worry yourself, Trevor. I've got this, Right? Why we don't have some webinars, where we actually put some interaction in there. Just imagine something like a sales safari, where the clients are actually seeking, like adventurers looking for, the benefits from our solutions. And you say, "Okay, sounds good, Ingrid." So webinars can be engaging, yes, but let's go explore this further and see how we can deal with it. But I want to have some follow-up with the webinars. And guess what? Let us combine your creative flair with some data-driven insights to make sure that we meet our target. All right. So moving fast here because running out of time. So you're HR manager, and we have a new system coming along. There's a challenge with individuals coming on board, and so you're saying, "Hey, Stephen, we're about to cut over. What's happening with this?" And Stephen is saying, "Honestly, this is overwhelming. This is really, I really prefer the whole system." You say, "Yeah, sure. I understand this, Stephen. Change is tough. Tell you what we're going to do. Let's explore how we can set up some training step by step that should ease your transition into the thing. But let me know. Looking forward to hearing from you. All right. And then our C style. So you're the team leader, software development company, project that you're working on, missing the deadlines with a particular person that's supposed to bring some code in that's not happening. And you say, hey, Clive, our project deadline has passed and the code review isn't complete. And Clive said, I understand, but I just want to ensure the quality. Sometimes when we rush, we compromise accuracy. Yeah, I appreciate your commitment to quality, Clive. So let's find some balance. Let's see how we can find a way to meet our deadlines, but also make sure that the quality of our codes are okay. So that gives you some idea of how to um, drive conversations. Right? So remember now, what we're doing here is adapting our communication style to the behavioral style of the individual that we're talking about. And if we can do that, we are going to be speaking their behavioral language. It's easier for them to understand what it is that we're trying to convey and to buy in to what it is that we want them to do. So difficult conversation need not be as daunting as it seems, and that we try to avoid them at all costs. Yeah. And so by embracing empathy, active listening, and critically our discerning model of communication, we can actually navigate them more effectively. Yeah. So remember, it's not just what you say, but how we say it that truly matters. And of course, we talked about when we say it and all of that as well. So here's a suggestion. Let's have a conversation about how navigating difficult conversation can transform your team dynamics and, of course, increase your influence and impact. Yeah. Send me an email to info@successwithpeople.org. Just want to tell you a little bit about us. Basically, we deploy the discerning model of communication and leadership to promote personal, team, and organizational growth. Yes, we are franchise holders for Extended Disc, and so we do behavioral DNA assessments on the Revolutionary Things platform. As you can see here, we are also SHRM recertification providers, which means that when we provide professional development credits, you can use them to get recertified for your SHRM CP or SCP certifications. Basically, what that means is that we operate at high international standards. All right. And so let's have a conversation. No holds barred. Let's start. Want to give you some access also to some additional information. Right? So these live casts are actually hosted as well on our YouTube channel. So it's Extended Disc Solutions. If you go to YouTube and check Extended Disc Solutions, you can actually access these live casts. Also, if you join our Leadership Development DNA Club, Leadership DNA Club on LinkedIn, you can actually participate. This is not one of those clubs that people just come and dump things. It's only curated content, and you will be able to access then these live casts, the newsletters, plus other contributions from others. So my suggestion: subscribe to this Success with People newsletter. It's on LinkedIn. Just click the link and you can subscribe. Having said that, I'll just again invite you to send me an email to info@successwithpeople.org and let's talk about what it is that you have on the top of your mind. Thank you for your time, and we look forward to sharing with you next week as we look at some other topic that needs our attention. Thank you.